And I always said, I'm never going to leave this company. But then you start thinking about, all right, well, what about commission splits? What about all these other things that are affecting my business, and how can I gain money so that I can put it back into my business? And that was the main thing for me. I wanted something fresh and new and somewhere where I could make more money.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to cover a personal topic that has been going on in our lives, in our personal life, and in our business life. This is going to be an episode about why Shawn and I moved the Battle Group over to Real Brokerage. We're going to talk about why we left, what we weren't getting, the opportunities that we see, and overall the state of real estate brokerages, because we're seeing a lot of headlines out there, and it seems like some news outlets are picking on certain brokerages, reporting their losses, but not reporting other brokerages' losses. So we thought it'd be good to share with you why we joined Real Brokerage and what we see for the future. So Shawn,
cool.
Let's start with why you left. You know, you were with and we were with Century 21 for quite some time. So why don't you talk about, you know, how long you were with Century 21 and why'd you leave?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a tough choice. I've been doing real estate for 20 years, and Century 21 Redwood Realty was my first stop. I was their first agent. And honestly, they're an amazing company, and I thank them so much for everything that they taught me. But, you know, after 20 years of, you know, and I was back and forth between another brokerage for a little bit, started my own brokerage for a little while, then went back to Redwood, learned a ton, and really had a great time there. They're still my friends and family there. But, you know, at one point, it was starting to get a little bit like, all right, I need something more. I feel like for me, you know, I have two young kids, and I'm like, I'm working a lot. I need to start finding a way to earn passive income and all this other stuff. So we started talking about it, you and I. And, you know, I think we first looked at EXP came up, right? And so we were like, all right, well, this is some way where you can start earning passive income by you know, getting people under you over to the brokerage. So we dove into that for a while, but there was just something missing, I guess, for us. And then we talked to a couple other brokerages, but
let's bring it on back. So you were at Century 21.
Mm-hmm.
You had a great experience there.
Yeah.
What did you like? What didn't you like?
You know, I think there's good culture there. There's a lot of help there. So, and they're my friends. You know, when you're in a brokerage for a long time, you're going to feel like your family, and that then starts clouding your business senses. And you know, not to say that my business wasn't good there, but I'm always searching for something more. And I felt like my team was kind of languishing a little bit. And I said, well, how can I build my team, bring more people over, feel some sort of, you know, feel alive again? Because I feel like I started feeling like I was just like, all right, I'm just running through the motions that I have been doing for a long time. So it was nothing against Century 21 Redwood, honestly. There was nothing that I was seeking from them. I had to seek it from myself and from what else was out there. I just had to look to see what else was out there. And then I came across Real. Honestly, you mentioned Real. Matt mentioned Real, and we started following Jason Cassidy out of California. And in watching, you know, learning from him, I was like, wow, this is something different. This is cool. And it clicked. So
Real kind of has come on the scene, you know, recently, but there's other brokerages that we could have gone to, you know.
Yeah.
You know, there's Compass, there's other like boutique brokerages, there's, you know, Real Living, you know, the Keller Williams, you know, and more of the traditional models. So What names, jumped out at you during the search, and, what were your thoughts on a Compass or on a Keller Williams or on a local boutique brokerage?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a lot of different brokerages and different agents from those brokerages just to kind of get a feel of what they were seeing. And, on one side, you talk to Compass, and I talked to Compass many times over the years. They had some intriguing stuff back in the day, and, I felt like, oh, that was somewhere that I could maybe hang my hat. But recently I felt like
back in the day, you talk about them like they're a dinosaur.
No, that's true. But it was like probably 2 years ago that I was talking to them just to see, I always want to know what the new brokerage is doing, what is happening, how they're changing the game, what tools they're using, that kind of thing. So I talked to Compass, and then a new player in the game in the area is Douglas Elliman. And they're starting a brokerage in Arlington. So I said, all right, well, I definitely want to talk to them. I talked to them. It was a good option. It's more of maybe a luxury brand. I felt like them.
What did you like about Douglas Elliman?
Well, that they were new. They were up and coming to the area. I think something fresh and new is what people are looking for.
Because they have, quite the foothold in luxury markets across the United States.
And that's the thing is, so either you're going to go. I think most of the decisions or the brokerages that you could do were going to be a lateral move, right?
What would be a lateral move?
Like a Compass. I think that's going lateral. Any of these big brokerages are going to be lateral. Now, what you could do is go more luxury, like a TTR Sotheby's or a Douglas Elliman.
So did TTR Sotheby's ever reach out to you?
No, but I talked. Yeah, over the years, but I've never really
in the
met
past,
with them.
like when you were in the decision-making process, did they?
No, I didn't. I talked to an agent friend of mine just to kind of see where the interest was and what splits were like and that kind of thing.
What about like a Washington Fine Properties?
I was never really pushed to go there.
Well, if you walk around Georgetown, if you walk around DuPont, if you drive through Country Club Hills in Arlington, you drive through Bellevue Forest, what do you see? You see Washington Fine Properties. You see TTR. You see Compass.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, if you're a luxury real estate agent, why not join these brokerages? But I'm also thinking, are these people listing with Washington Fine Properties because it's Washington Fine Properties, or because the agent that they like just happens to be at Washington Fine Properties?
Both. I think there is a level of attraction to say, all right, well, I know, I have heard this story that me as a buyer or seller, I'm going to use X brokerage because of the luxury brand. And I asked that question to one of the agents, and they were like, yeah, I did get some business and sold a few $1 million in real estate because of that. Now, is that a recurring thing? No, but it does add something to your name or your brand that says, hey, I'm a luxury agent. But, that only goes so far for me. And honestly, like that wasn't the main drive for me. I wasn't, we have our business set. It's not like we're ultra luxury agents, and that just wasn't my thing. That wasn't a decision for me. Now, for a lot of agents, that will be the decision. But for me, it was not.
When I think of Sotheby's, you know what I think of? I think of Aspen. I think of art. Yeah. I think of like magazines. Yeah. That's what I think of. And when I think of Century 21, I don't really think of that. I don't think of like luxury properties. But, when I think of Real, I think of, tech forward, team enabled, culture, video marketing, new age. These are all things that jive with my brand. So it just felt like a mesh fit to join a brokerage like that.
Yeah. And I wasn't going for a lateral move at all. Like I wasn't going to leave. I always said, I'm never going to leave this company. But then you start thinking about, all right, well, what about commission splits? What about all these other things that are affecting my business, and how can I gain money so that I can put it back into my business? And that was the main thing for me. I wanted something fresh and new and somewhere where I could make more money and possibly make some passive income.
So you keep mentioning passive income just on a very broad level without, taking 30 minutes to describe it. What sort of passive income opportunities are there at Real?
Okay. The main passive income is that if I get an agent to say, hey, Shawn, I want to learn more about Real. I want to come over. I become their sponsor. They're under me. That person, if they cap, meaning $12,000 into the company, they cap, I can make $4,000 on.
So it's almost like, so thinking back to Century 21 or back to the traditional brokerage model, if I'm the broker owner and someone joins the brokerage, then I'm going to be getting part of their revenue. So it's almost like you have a brokerage within a brokerage.
Yeah, it's all about revenue share. That's exactly it. The weird thing about it is, I own my own brokerage, and it was like, oh, I'd love to have my own brokerage. But at this company, you could essentially start your own brokerage by attracting agents, but not have the broker or the brokerage problems, and that's the main thing. So that was the main attraction for me. I was looking for passive income. How can I gain passive income? And at first I thought, I'll attract a few. But then once you start talking about it and people start calling you I got this fire lit in me recently that I'm like, I love this. Because once you learn about it, you're sold, in my opinion. I was sold as soon as I learned about it. And the more people you attract, the more money you're going to make passively. So $4,000 per agent on your first line that you're going to pull in every year that they cap. So think about capping. So the caps are a $12,000 cap per year at an 85-15 split. So you have to pull in gross commissions of $80,000, okay? At 15%, that is $12,000 that goes into Real. Now that $12,000 doesn't go to Real. It goes to all the agents above that person. And that's the coolest thing. I was like, well, where's the money that's going to Real? And that we'll get into that as well. But that $12,000 is then shared by all the agents in that tier. So if you get 10 people or 10 agents on that first tier, that opens your second tier. And so you're earning $4,000 on every single agent that comes over. And then on your second tier, you're earning $3,200 of every agent under them. And then if you open the third, and it goes down 5 levels.
So it's essentially profit sharing.
It is.
Now, Keller Williams had profit share. They were maybe the first company to do this.
Yeah.
Not a knock on Keller Williams. I've never heard any agents talk about profit sharing. I've never seen any sort of income. I've never seen an Instagram reel where someone from Keller Williams was like, hey, here's how much I made from Keller Williams profit share. Maybe they're making a ton and they don't want to tell anyone.
Yeah.
But did you ever look into Keller Williams' profit share?
No, and I don't even know them. I know there's profit sharing, but I don't even know the model. I didn't look into them. It wasn't of interest to me. I felt like, again, this is kind of a sideways move for me. Even if there was some sort of profit share, I wanted something new, crisp. And the fact that Real is, no one knew about it, right? When we were going and looking at this, everybody's like, what is Real? Like, we have no idea. And that is another thing that enticed me. I said, well, if I can get in early in this company and start going, then it can just blossom. And so honestly, I've had a lot of people reach out to me inquiring about it. And I just love talking about it at this point.
So when we were interested in Real, I think they were at about 5,000, maybe 5,500 agents. We blinked and they were at 6,000. I think they're over 8,000
They're
now.
over 8,000. Now think about that. In 3 months, they've gone from 5,500 to 8,000 agents.
Now,
that is quick.
You've mentioned downlines. You've mentioned extreme growth. So, of course, I'm just thinking of EXP. So everything is sounding like EXP. How is this different than EXP?
Okay, so EXP, you have your sponsors, and those sponsors can offer you certain things. And basically what they say is EXP starts siloing, right? So you have one person that's going after you. And if you've ever gotten those emails from agents, they're like, hey, you're doing really well. You should talk to this person, right? And then all of a sudden this person reaches out to you and they're trying to sell you on their stuff within EXP. That is what I didn't want. I didn't want to be the salesman to try to bring people over. All I want to do is give you information. And if you want to come over, come over. And so what Real did was said, hey, you're not allowed to offer somebody something for coming over to Real. This is what we offer blanketedly, and you come over. And so they have tried to keep it from siloing, and they have done a really good job at that in the respect of education. So agents in the entire company can educate everybody else. And by doing so, they actually earn shares of stock in the company. So that is one way that they have stopped that siloing. And the other thing that we won't get into deeply was that you can now split sponsors. So say there was somebody that, there were two people that were kind of, I really wanted to go under this person and this person, but like, what do I do? Well, you can go under both of them now. And they split that revenue share. So that's the way that they have stopped the company from going kind of that EXP route where people were like, hey, if you go under this person, this is what I'm going to give you.
Yeah, and everyone has their reasons to join brokerages and to leave brokerages. My reason to join Real was not recruiting. I didn't want to just open up a recruiting farm and start, DMing people on LinkedIn. That's not about, I don't see myself as a recruiter. I don't want to be this person who's just now talks about recruiting on Instagram. That's not me. But, we're mentioning a lot about, EXP and downlines. I'm wondering, what concerns do you have about Real? Where do you see like, oh man, there's a concern here, but maybe there's also like an opportunity here?
Okay, it's a cloud-based brokerage. There are no offices. So a lot of people will say, well, I'm an office person and I need to go into an office. There's always going to be those people that need that. So that could be something that people might fear. But the cool thing is that a lot of these people are getting their own offices. So we could get our own office and call it the Battle Group. And we can invite other agents to come over. Even if you're not part of the Battle Group, you can come over and use our office. And that's kind of, there's a culture that's starting out in like Ryan Zook out in Loudon. He's starting like this little thing, doing exactly that. And he's inviting people and having seminars and things like that. And so it's growing. And honestly, when you go there and when we all meet, it's electric. Everybody is in the same mindset. They're thinking, we love this company and we want it to grow. We have a stake in this company and we feel like this was the right move. All of us feel the same way. And so
Ryan Zook, he brought over Dwellis, big team in the Reston area. And, when I'm thinking of massive agent attraction, I also look at EXP. I think, they're up to, I think, about 85,000 agents. So, Real has a long way to go. And Glenn Sanford, CEO of EXP, forecasted 100,000 EXP agents by the end of the year, and they did not get that. So they're kind of stagnating around 84,000 agents. So I think there's a lot to go for Real because they're just getting started. But I'm also a little I have some concerns about maybe the financials of it because, hey, $12,000 cap, that sounds amazing. Hey, like not very many fees. That sounds amazing. But then I'm like, well, the company's got to make money somehow. It's got to turn a profit somehow. Do you have any sort of concerns with like the company, like the EXP model where, you essentially have to, keep going, keep recruiting almost in order to hopefully turn a profit?
I don't. I think agents are attracted because of what is offered. And honestly, like when I went over these past couple of months, I've learned more in 4 weeks than I have in the last 4 years of real estate. Like you can go on to the workplace in Real and watch whatever you want at any time. There's recorded stuff, but every day there's 2-3 classes that you can jump on and you can learn high level stuff from agents throughout the country, throughout Canada. These are high level agents in high markets. And so if you want to learn how to gain social media shares and, do better on that side of things or anything, it's there every single day. And so I've been jumping on these, and Sharon's the new head of what's his title? President.
Yeah.
And I mean, this guy is brilliant. I watched a few things of his and I'm like, it's a constant learn. And by the end of the day at 4:30, I was like brain fried. I was so tired because I'm just taking all this stuff in. And that's the thing is like, I've been doing this 20 years and I'm learning a ton. And I think that's what is going to be the agent attraction. Number one, it's low fees. Number two, it's revenue share. Number three, it's education. It's constant education. And it's being taught by agents that know what they're doing. And, you want to build a team. There was a girl on there the other day from California. She has like 60 agents and like is crushing it. She was showing all of her secrets. And I'm like, how did you even do this? But you start small and you add and you add and you add. And so all these secrets are there for you. And that is what is attracting other agents. And so I don't think there has to be this, oh, you got to come, this sales pitch. It doesn't have to happen. That's what is exciting to me, is like, I just have to talk to people and say, listen, this is why I came. This is why I think you can benefit. It's up to you if you want to come, and I can guarantee you that people are thirsting for that right now, because what I'm seeing is in real estate, we go through these ups and downs. And the last 3 years, we've had such weird things going on, pandemic, and then just a crazy market. And so no one was really leaving their brokerages. There wasn't this big flow of agents leaving because we were just kind of stuck. And then we were so busy that we didn't have a chance to think. And now all of a sudden the market slowed down, and, we came out of like having, no in-person meetings, things like that. And then you're just like, oh, the morale, the morale. And plus you're like, am I going to make another dollar? Am we going to do another sale? So that's where the conversation starts. It's like, listen, how can I boost my morale? How can I make passive income so that when we're on these down months, we're not worrying about the next commission check? We can rely on other people on our downline that are making money at different times. And if you've ever been in real estate, you know that sometimes you're up. When he's up, I'm down. When he's down, I'm up. It just, sometimes that's the way that cycles. So having some sort of normalcy to real estate is what I was looking for. And this company provides it in the form of revenue share.
Yeah, I think the team aspect for me is really important, because when I'm thinking about what types of agents will succeed at Real and what type of agents will join Real and say, hey, listen, it's just not for me. It's the solo agents. It's the solopreneurs. It's the people that are maybe just off on an island by themselves. So if you're a brand new agent, or if, you need some sort of structure, like, hey, I need some structure. Why would I join a cloud-based brokerage? Well, you need to be on a team, right? You need to be on a team that is providing you with leads, providing you with guidance, providing you with coaching. That's the number one thing. And, part of it is also like, I don't see traditional brokerages being a thing of the future. Now, I do see there, Aaron Kerman out in LA, he just left Compass and made his own boutique brokerage, like AK Group. Maybe I'm messing that up, but if you're the number one agent in LA, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. But he's not leaving Compass to join, insert traditional real estate brokerage. I'm sure for him, with however much he was paying Compass, he's like, okay, well, I can either go cloud-based or I can just do my own thing. And so I think, eventually, once the agents that are in these traditional brokerages, I don't really want to name which ones I think will go by the wayside, but once they retire, essentially, I think it's going to be very hard for some of the traditional brokerages to continue their model, because when you walk into some of these traditional brokerages in Arlington, there's no way an agent under the age of 45 is going to join them.
Yeah, there is a lot of, let's put it this way. I mean, traditional brokers charge a lot of money. And I talked to some people and they're like, yeah, I paid my brokerage $100,000 last year. I'm like, $100,000. Think about that. You just gave your brokerage $100,000 for what? For the tech? For I don't know what, right? And this is the question that people have to start asking themselves. If you're a business owner, and if you're a real estate agent, you're a business owner. You need to start saying, why am I spending $100,000, $60,000, whatever it is, on a brokerage? How can I alleviate these costs? And so what Real does is like, it limits that, but it also gives you such good tech. That's one thing that we didn't talk about, is like, we have an app that we can follow all of our deals on. It has everybody's information on it. It's such a simple way of following your deals. And you need somebody's number. Oh, it's just go look in the app. It's there. So that's there. They've got a workplace site that has everything on it. I mean, anything that you want, and people teaching all the time. So I just believe in the company. It's not that I disliked anywhere that I was. And, if you're looking for a certain thing, I think our old company, Century 21 Redwood, is a really good option. But if you're one of those agents that's like, I'm looking for something different and I need to change, I think you got to look at Real.
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing is like the bottom line, right? It's like if you're a producing agent, if you're doing more than 10, 20, 30 deals a year, more than 5, 10, 15, 20 million in sales volume, I think agents are starting to realize what exactly am I getting for my brokerage in exchange. Now, another thing, and I meant to bring this up during the branding, but you as a buyer, when you're writing an offer, when you're like, you know what, this house, this is the one, I want to write an offer on this one. How often are you thinking, well, wait a second, let me check the sign in the front yard. Oh, is it a Sotheby's sign? Okay, now I can write on the house, right? How often are you deciding as a buyer whether or not to write on a house, whether they have the Real logo out there, the Century 21 logo out there, the Sotheby's logo out there? I don't think it's that important. It's the same thing with people that ask, hey, where's your office? Oh, I'm thinking about using you as a real estate agent. Where's your office? Well, let me ask you a question. When you're selling a property, how important is the buyer's agent's office location? Why is that even in the discussion? So in terms of branding, in terms of selling, in terms of buying, how important is the sign in the yard when you're on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, I think on a listing side too, right? So listing side, most people are going to be like, whoa, oh my gosh, how are you going to sell this new company to these sellers that are selling? And I'm like, well, aren't they hiring you because of you? They're hiring the agent. And if you got in the door, how did you get in the door? It's because of your advertising, your name, the things that you've built. So why are you not taking the money that you could be saving and putting it into that instead of a brand that really may not, I'm not saying all of them, but it may not be doing anything for you. We didn't really use the company name that we were at. We were using our team name more than anything. And that's where it was like, all right, well, if I just keep funneling things into here, I'm going to be okay, and that's part of the move. So now, yeah, we have to tell everybody, hey, we left, but they're like, we didn't even know you were there anyways. So that's the way a lot of people reacted. But the other thing is you have a little bit more freedom as far as how your sign looks. Right. So for me, a big thing for my branding was that I wanted my team name big on that sign. I didn't necessarily want the company name on there because people knew that I was the team, And so that was another big thing for me is like, hey, my sign in the yard is good advertising for my team now. And it all comes full circle.
So just to follow up on the sign in the yard, I think if there is a Sotheby's sign in the yard, if there is a Washington Fine Properties, if there is a Compass, Douglas Elliman sign in the yard, I'm walking into that open house, I'm walking into that house with a certain level of expectation, right? A certain level of like, okay, Sotheby's, I know you got your ish together. Like, this is going to be a nice property. The market's going to be clean and whatnot. There are some brokerages out there. When I see that sign in the front yard, I'm thinking, oh boy. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So for the discount brokerages out there, for the flat fee brokerages out there, the agents that join the flat fee brokerages because maybe they're only doing a handful of deals per year. I'm walking into that open house. I'm walking into that property during the showing and saying, all right, taking a deep breath. Like, let's see, what we got here. And I think with Real, there's an opportunity to create your own brand because we're not just brand new real estate agents. A lot of people know Shawn. They know me. So they're like, oh, what's Real? Oh, wait a second. Shawn Battle. Yeah, I know Shawn Battle. So I think there's the branding opportunity of who you are as a person rather than, oh, I'm with insert blank company, so that's who I am.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And that's one of the real big reasons that we left. And speaking of, again, how a property shows, I mean, Matt and I, if you go through our listings, they're going to be staged, pretty, painted, everything, because that's the level of property that we want to sell. We want to make sure that it sells. How do you get it to sell? You tell people what they have to do to get it to sell. A lot of agents won't do a thing. They won't even change a light bulb. And I'm like, my gosh, like this place has 3 different color light bulbs you can't even see in this room. Do a little bit of effort and get the thing sold. And so that is what we run our business on, is like getting this stuff done. So hopefully if you come see one of our listings, you're going to know that it's a good listing,
So I want to be conscious of our time here, Shawn.
Okay.
Where do you see Real, headed in the future? Because we're entering some maybe tumultuous times. Multiple brokerages are changing their fee and commission structure. Real just, I would say, slightly altered it.
Yeah.
And when you saw the chats, everyone in the chat was excited about it, and I was like, okay, we're getting charged more. It's not a lot more, but there are going to be things that brokerages have to do in the future. Hello, ask Compass, ask Redfin, in order to stay alive and stay afloat during, what's going to be a reckoning in the next 2 years in the real estate market. And a lot of this is also, due to like downward commissions as well, right? Like commissions getting pushed downwards. So real estate brokerages have to adjust. So Shawn, where do you see Real in the next, let's call it 5 years?
Honestly, I think this year is going to be huge for Real. 2023 is going to be a really big year. I think it's going to grow very large in this next year. I mean, I think it's at least going to double in size, if not more.
So add 8,000 agents.
I think at least 8,000.
So up to
easily.
16,000.
I think it could go as high as 20,000 this year. That's my prediction. I think because in the last 3 months, we have seen it go from 5,500 agents to over 8,000. I mean, that is a lot of attraction. Right now, we are in a market where real estate agents are like, what do I do? What do I do? And the statistic is agents fall out. 85% of agents fall out and stop in the first 5 years. Think about all the people right now that are in their first 3 years of real estate. They've never seen a bad market. They're going into this like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? My advice is find a team. Matt and I are always hiring with the Battle Group. So if you're local and you're looking for like, hey, I need a team, we're hiring. This is the kind of security that you need on that regard. But I mean, I think Real as a whole has so much going for it because it's not like a cheap salesman trying to sell you a brokerage. It's the facts, and the facts sell themselves.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of buzz in the air about Real.
And if you look, there's a lot of high-level, well-known people that are starting to go, and they're announcing.
That was always my thing, because when I look at EXP, I see high-level people joining.
Yeah,
and when I look at Real, I don't see, when you look at the sales numbers, I think the higher sellers are probably at EXP. Maybe that was just because they had first mover advantage.
And they've been there for a while now, yeah. But I think there are some EXP agents coming over to Real. There's high-level people, and that's the thing is, how do you attract agents? It's not by giving money and then taking the money back. It's by giving education, low splits, revenue share, giving a stake in the company. You can earn shares of stock. We didn't even get into that.
So I think also, I really enjoy EXP as a company, but it's also about finding your tribe, like your tribe of people.
Exactly. Everybody's going to be different.
In the local area, love the EXP agents.
Sure.
But I also wanted to learn from people that were doing things that I want to do. And when I went to some of the EXP, seminars, they were talking about, billboards and TV ads and selling, thousands and thousands of houses per year. And I'm just like, you know what? I can't really relate to this when you're up here and you have 50 buyers agents, 20 ISA, and this, that, and the other. Like, I need to find my tribe, and I think I'm going to do that at Real.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we have, and honestly, super excited about it. We've only been there a month, 5 weeks. And I've learned so much. I'm so glad I made the move. Nothing against the old brokerages again. They're still my buddies. But this was something that we did for our business and something for our future. And again, like, I have young kids. I needed not to work as much as I was working. I needed some sort of passive income that I could start building, and this was the way to do it.
Awesome. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. Would love to know your comments. Be sure to drop them down below. Let us know what you think on the branding. Does the sign in the yard matter? And have you even heard about Real Broker and the Real Brokerage? Because I bet a lot of agents and a lot of consumers out there don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is, anywhere you're watching, like, this is another cool thing about it. This is nationwide. So if somebody in Wisconsin said, hey, Matt, I want to come under you, you can. Our sponsor's in California, and that's the cool thing about it. And now we collaborate with Jason almost daily. I'm talking to him. And so there's this collaboration between markets, and I don't know, it's just a cool thing.
Yeah, and I thought about it, and I was like, what? Century 21's nationwide. Century 21 is global. But dude, I've reached out to Century 21 agents in Tampa, Florida, in Mexico City, Mexico. I was like, hey, love your property. Would love to shoot a real estate video. I got denied. 0 for 2. They're like, no. So I'm a fellow Century 21 agent. There's like, no.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
So I didn't really feel it's like a global brand, but I didn't really feel that like I'm not hopping on a Zoom call with that Mexico City agent to talk about marketing.
Yeah, because there's different franchises. There's so many different franchises throughout the nation. So it's a nationwide and global company, but it's owned by so many different spots. But that brings up another thing is referrals. You can just jump into the system. I've already referred 2 people out like that. You just, hey, boom. Oh, okay, I'll take it. Thanks. So simple. So can't say enough about it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, reach out to us.
For Shawn and myself, until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.